Hey babes. So, as you know, I'm on the road and I wanted to just have a moment with you because we are just about to turn the wheel as we're walking the seasonal wheel into Lammas, which is the first harvest. And it's a cross-quarter holy day between summer solstice and autumnal equinox. And there's import to all of them, right? But um, so what is the specific import or beauty or invitation of Lammas, right? I'm staying at a farm actually, and I wanted to do the video there, but didn't work out at the moment because I'm out and about, and it's video o'clock, and we're in the van. But you can see this is thyme and sage that hangs over my bed now from the farm. So harvest, right? This is the time of harvest. I'm at the farm. Everything is dropping and filling out, and there is abundance, right? So I'm going to put the link below to the discounted ritual immersion, which goes into all sorts of things: abundance, ritual invitation for this time, etc. You can check that out if you're wanting to really dive in that way. But I wanted to mostly give you a very simple invitation at this time to at least harvest some of the natural harmony, the natural law, the sacred law that's present at this time, and to bring your life and your being and those around you into alignment with that more deeply by your own connection to it. And, if we look at the wheel, here in Lammas, it's the time of the harvest, right? So, first harvest. So, what we're being asked to do, in a way, is to not just reap what we've sown, but to eat it. It's a time of feasting. And what for me is important here has to do with the fact that there, feasting is about abundance. It's about desire, like you want it. It's succulent. It makes you want to be alive. There's a celebration here. And inside of that celebration is a lot of hard work. You don't get to harvest by just like sitting on your ass all the rest of the cycle, right? So it's a moment for so many things. And the immersion goes way more into a lot of it. But the moment is to say, like, really take the time, notice your harvest at this time, right? It may not be what you thought it would be. It may not be what you want even. But even if it's hardship that you're walking through right now, there is a harvest. And to feast on that harvest is what restores us in the cycle, right? So all of the cycle is present in different ways in every moment of life, probably. We highlight one as we're moving with the seasons themselves in the bigger movement of creation, right? But, you know, when we actually harvest, two things are happening. We're bringing things out of invisibility often. We have to slow time. You have to stop. You have to sit down at the table. You have to prepare the food and you have to take it in, right? And ideally, you're sharing it with others, but you're feasting. That means stop for a minute. Let it be enough. Let it all be enough so that you can see what the harvest really is, right? And then another aspect of that is actually taking it in. And this is what I've been thinking about, because gratitude is a big part of this, right? When you come to harvest time, there's gratitude. Thank God. This is the expression of a covenant, of a promise that was made at the beginning of the cycle, right? There will be yield again. From this fallow time, there will be yield again. There will be fruits, there will be plenty, there will be a feast. Right? So we have to take this time, or we're invited to take this time to acknowledge this as a restoration of faith, right? That this is a time where we actually cultivate faith by feasting. Does that make sense? So because you feast, you take in the fruits of it all, you take in the harvest of it all, and that's what really nourishes and fortifies faith. So these are a little bit vague, I know, but I wanted to invite you into those couple of things, and then finally this little exploration of gratitude. So if nothing else, what I would encourage is consider this with gratitude. If you want to play around with something around Lammas, you know how there's the gratitude where you're going to bed at night or you're getting through a hard time, and so you just start listing your gratitudes. Okay, I'm grateful I have a house. I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful, whatever, and you start bringing yourself home with that. This traffic. You start bringing yourself home with gratitude. That's one really important way to be with gratitude and to be with the harvest that's in your life, right? Is to become aware of it and therefore shift your state of being. However, I would invite at this time of feasting to work with a different aspect of gratitude, which is where you just feel what you're actually grateful for. So it's a little different from when you're kind of getting yourself back on track, right? And making the list and making a little bit of magic in that way. This is just taking all the shoulds off. You're not trying to get yourself anywhere. You're not trying to glorify anything. You're not even trying to be grateful for things that you can't really feel gratitude for right at this moment, And you just find what it is that you could actually feast on in this moment. Is it, sometimes it's literally food. Sometimes it's just the fact that your bed has you. Sometimes it's the air on your face. But there's this, when we're working with deep feminine sensibilities and we're asking everything to come in out of concept and be something tangible, especially at this time of feasting, which has to do with nourishment and absorption and sacrament, the holiness of immanent, as in tangible and intimate connection with and support from creation, from Creator, then we want to take a minute and just kind of open everything up to see what could you really feast on in this moment. And it might be something big and it might be something small. And it might be like a tiny little light if you happen to be in a dark tunnel. And it might be so many things you can't count them if you happen to be in an expansive summer solstice still kind of time, right? But to look for that subtle difference. There's obviously nothing wrong with the list and the little bit of effort that it takes to reorient to gratitude and bring yourself home that way. This is bringing yourself home in gratitude another way by asking, what could I feast on right now? What would I really absorb right now? I mean, so I've just left my entire life. And the amount of times that I would spend time feeling like I needed to go, feeling like things weren't working, but then just being like, no, Jemana, gratitude. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. All true. And at the same time, it was becoming more and more evident that I wasn't actually able to eat it. I wasn't actually able to absorb. And that also became clear that that wasn't my issue. That actually what I needed to be grateful for was the part of me, the voice inside of me that kept saying, get the fuck out, Jemana. Get out. Get your wings open and get out. None of this gratitude shit. None of this making do. None of this looking for the bright side. Listen to me and move. Go. Right? Very different. And there's a way that we can have conflict in all sorts of different ways. Working with what life is, which is such a complicated bunch of things, and it has this combination of endurance and then following your soul, all these things, right? And opportunity, whatever, all the other things. But when you start to really get honest about what you are actually grateful for, it can be like a truth serum. And not only, so it lines us up in a different way. What is actually feeding me? What actually am I like literally, my heart is like singing for. That's part of why I'm on the road. I want to be with those things, maybe those people, we'll see, where my whole heart is just like, oh, I love this. I love you. Nothing held back, right? Gratitude of that caliber, of um, that kind of gratitude in my being is kind of what I'm following for me now. Right now, it's a very instinctual situation that I happen to be in. And part of it is following that. Like, what actually does my being respond to and open to? But we can do it anywhere. You don't have to be on a van. You don't have to have just kind of like close the door on your entire life up to this point. You can do it any moment, and that's what it is. That's what Lammas is inviting. So I invite you to feast on what actually delights you, or nourishes you, or fortifies you, or gives you faith, restores you, restores your faith in humanity. This is a time of restoration, the faith that restores. We will not be abandoned in the cycle of things. We will not be abandoned in the fallow, right? We will not be abandoned with a single flame. We will have this time where we can feast and where the abundance will come, and or when we will learn how to actually receive it as it's being given. So, blessed Lammas to all of you. I hope you feast. I hope you absorb. I hope your faith is strengthened. I hope you make the choices and turn towards the things and people and places that are going to do that for you. It's Lammas, first harvest. I know you're harvesting. I know you can harvest a lot, way more than probably what you think. You're a power being. You've been planting seeds, cultivating inside of yourself. Usually my observation is much of what we're cultivating inside we are not that aware of, because it's more than what we even can imagine. And this time is time to eat that, feast on that. You are a feast. Blessed be.